On this episode of Les Roll Radio, we talk about winning and losing with grace. This is Les Roll Radio, a combat sports podcast. I'm Kelly Shinnicky.
And I'm Andrea Shinnicky. Welcome to the podcast.
All right, so for those who follow us on Discord or social media, you know we took a break because Andrea had a hip labrum repair that was bumped up 2 months.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, like you literally got a notification the day before that they had a cancellation. So we did not pre-plan or do any episodes. We took some time off so you had some time to rest, and it was kind of like a nice little summer vacation that we didn't intend on taking from the podcast, but it happened.
It happened and it was good. I feel a lot better. So
good, because I was going to ask how you're feeling.
Oh, I feel pretty good. I feel like...
How long's it been?
8 weeks-ish.
About, yeah.
I feel pretty good. I feel like I definitely... It needed to happen, and I'm glad I got it done earlier in the year.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel good. Or else I would have gotten it done 3 days ago. That was my scheduled.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's really crazy. So yeah, about 2 months early.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's great both in terms of getting back to training and also for our vacation.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's just be honest.
That would not have been as fun.
I know. I'm like, so Bermuda will be a lot more fun if you've had an extra 2 weeks or 2 weeks, 2 months to recover.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it was a good choice. Mentioning Discord, just a reminder that everyone's welcome in the Discord. It is not LGBTQ plus exclusive. We do have closed channels for queer folks, for camp, for women even, but everyone is welcome if you just like martial arts, jiu-jitsu, combat sports. We talk about anything. People can ask questions. There's a technique chat. We have black belts in there that will answer your questions. It's just a good resource, and it's a free resource too.
Mm-hmm.
People offer their expertise for free. So, if you're not in there, we would love for you to join us. It's linked to in our social media bios, on our website, and so forth. And I can even put a link in the show notes.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then next, I am so sorry. We have so many announcements from being out for so long, but while we were out, also announced the dates for our 4th annual Queer Grappling Camp. It is going to be April 17th through the 19th in Fishers, Indiana at Crew Fit again. And we announced it, and I already have a very fast list of sponsors.
Yeah.
Like that just happened immediately. So much thanks to Slime Mold Grappling, Clayton Green, and Petra Russell for being very early sponsors of camp. And registration's open on the website. It's a little more sophisticated this year. It's like a storefront, which is nice. So you get like actual tickets via email. And you'll also find if you are interested in sponsoring or donating that there's an option there as well. So it's kind of all handled through the website this year. So lesrollradio.com/camp, or just go to lesrollradio.com and, click the link in the navigation bar. And I just want to emphasize that if registration is at all a problem, we want people to come regardless of their ability to pay. That's why we have people sponsoring folks. We also have people who do that not through us. Like last year we had a gym owner who sent one of his girls and paid for her flight, her hotel, her registration. Was just a sponsored athlete by their gym. So, that's another option too, is you don't have to do anything through us. And you can always help us out non-monetarily, share information on social media. That's very much appreciated. And I want to emphasize that regardless of what affiliation you're with, you're more than welcome to come. The queer community is more important than individual affiliations. Mm-hmm. And it's really important that we come together and show up for marginalized communities.
Agreed.
All right. So we have another exciting announcement.
It is pretty exciting.
So this is self-indulgent because if you're not, local to Indianapolis, you may not care. But if you care about us, you may find this interesting. But CrewFit, the home of camp and one of the gyms that we've trained at for years, is launching a new jiu-jitsu program. And John Imany is going to be the head coach. John Imany is already a Muay Thai and MMA coach at CrewFit. He's a good friend of ours. He has taught at 2, going on 3 of our camps, right? He didn't teach it the first year.
Right.
Yeah, but John is a good friend. I'm just incredibly excited to see the best striking gym in not just Indiana, but the Midwest create a jiu-jitsu program and see what happens with it. But John's leading it, but Andrea and I are teaching a few classes, and our friend Wes Stevens is going to teach a few classes. It is an affiliate of Sucker Free Jiu-Jitsu. So that's Weiss Sakazada out of Long Island, New York. He is a JT Torres black belt, who is a Andre Galval black belt, so really good lineage. And, you know, Sucker Free and Weiss really, I think, like, walk the walk in terms of cult-free principles. Just a good person and a good affiliation to be a part of. So I'm excited that that is going to be the affiliation that gym is under. But I mentioned this because if you were anywhere near Fishers in Indianapolis, whether you live here or you're just traveling through, please come visit, come cross-train. We are going to have a women's class on Wednesday night. The schedule and time are going to be posted soon. That's still like up in the air. And that class will always be open to all women, regardless of affiliation, no mat fees. We tried really hard to avoid a day and time that would conflict with other women's classes in the area. So again, just come train. We would love to have you, or at a co-ed class. There's some form of jiu-jitsu 7 days a week, multiple classes a day. And I think is cool is that there are fundamentals and advanced. And the advanced classes are really going to lean into constraint-based games, ecological approach, open rolling, and then some more traditional instruction in the fundamentals class. So fundamentals are not necessarily for beginners, just kind of a different teaching model. So yeah, that's my self-indulgent announcement.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I'm really excited. So today's topic came from a listener, a good friend of ours, and she wanted us to talk about, she actually gave us this topic a long time ago. I'm so sorry that we're just now getting to it. Winning and losing with grace, which, you know, again, we're typically coming from the jiu-jitsu context because that's what we train. But I think this applies to all martial arts, all combat sports, very easily. And, you know, I think it kind of goes without saying that the way that you handle loss, but also handle winning says a lot about you. But it also can really impact your relationships with other people. It can impact your reputation. And it also impacts how other people show up for you down the road. So we're going to talk through some common mistakes, you know, some healthy habits, and the role of coaches in gym culture. So my first question for you, Andrea, is do you think it's harder to lose gracefully or win gracefully, and why? You compete a lot more than me and a lot more than most people I know.
Yeah, so I'm going to say lose gracefully for me personally. And that's because, you know, you can be in the heat of the moment and then just really feel like, especially if it came down to the wire and you were close to potentially winning and you didn't, and then you feel like maybe you should have won, but you didn't. I sometimes can have a hard time with that personally, but I do not try to let it show visually. But I feel like, honestly, winning with grace is a lot easier. And I'm not exactly sure how to explain it because I'll win and I'll be like, yes, I did it. But I'm not like, I've also never won a world championship before, so I don't know
how you may react.
How I could react in that sense.
Sure.
But
I think that's a fair point though.
But I've not jumped up and down, just felt the world on my shoulders at that point, like I just won ADCC. So I don't know how that feels, but I do feel that winning with grace is a lot easier than losing.
I'm guessing that's probably true for most people, although as we'll talk about, there are definitely people who are bad losers or bad winners, not just losers,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
for sure. So let's start with the wrong way to lose. So let's go with the losers first, right?
Okay,
so you've lost. And you know, we're really thinking about this in terms of competition, but this could be in the gym.
Absolutely.
I have submitted people in the gym and they have walked away from our role and left the mat.
Did they slap and bump before they left?
No.
See, yeah, that's not cool.
No. And I know you're only getting one side of the story, but it wasn't like I ripped a submission or like, you know,
Yeah.
my point is like, you know, you can see this in the gym too, is my point.
Absolutely.
But I think we're thinking about this more from the competition lens. But, you know, some things that you kind of see sometimes are like those public outbursts, and whether that's in the moment, yelling at the ref, begging the ref, yelling at the coach, walking off the mat, being shitty, having an attitude, arguing, that sort of thing. Social media rants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like taking to a public forum to complain about it after, just generally trash talking. So kind of goes with probably social media, but I guess that could be in person trash talking too, just like not letting go of it.
Yeah.
And being disparaging to, you know, the other person, the other team, the other coach. And then of course, like skipping out on medals or podium, or even just kind of like disappearing from your team, going off and having a tantrum. I think those are kind of the big things. We were discussing before we started recording, like the quintessential taking way too long to tie your belt in a gi match at the end. You can not watch an entire match and just glance over and see like they're getting ready to raise someone's hand. And I promise you 99.9% time out of 100, if not 100% of the time, the person that takes the longest to tie their belt and put their gi back together is always the loser.
I would give it like a 98% because sometimes when people win, especially I feel like older grapplers, they'll very much so just like very much take their time before they get their hand raised.
But it's like overwhelmingly like the person just being like and like taking
Yes,
forever.
yeah.
Like I feel like it's very predictive, just that one thing. And so it's funny that you can pick up just based on like that in body language that they probably lost.
Yeah, I agree.
And so that's not someone screaming, but it's still sort of like a subtle tantrum.
It's like a silent protest.
It really is. It's grouchy at least. And so I think it just kind of like is obvious that, you know, those things don't make you look great. Like it's uncomfortable. It's kind of uncomfortable for everyone. And, you know, loss sucks, but it kind of doesn't matter if it was deserved or not. Like maybe it could be emotional, like you said, like, you know, you lose at a major and you're not necessarily disagreeing with the decision, but you were just like personally devastated by that. Or it could be like, you know, truly the ref fucked up and there was some sort of injustice. Or, you know, the person did the Brazilian tap, as we call it. You know, like there could be something that was like that. And like that is so frustrating. But again, people won't remember those things. They'll remember how you treated them and how you treated other people more than they'll remember the specific circumstance. So I just think it's incredibly important, regardless of how justified you are or not in your anger or your emotions, that you try to keep them in check. So I'm curious, what is the worst excuse you've ever heard for a loss?
Like personally, like during one of my matches?
Oh, just in general.
Just in general. One that really like just grinds my gears is I didn't tap. Or like
I've had that happen and I was just like, well, I didn't tap, but whatever.
Yeah. Or if a ref taps for you, which is very, as adults, I don't think that needs to happen personally, unless the arm is completely like torn off the person. I don't think the ref needs to stop.
Like a
the
ref
match.
stoppage needs to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen people have a ref stoppage and then get very, very angry afterwards. And I don't think the anger is necessary. The refs are just trying to do their job and keep people safe, which is what they're supposed to do.
I think that that's the piece that is really missing here is I think I've probably, this is such a silly example, I've probably, like when I've talked about jujitsu being data points, I've said this. So I think if you think about jujitsu as data points, and we've talked about that on past episodes, how, you know, try to be more objective with your training and not make excuses and not have like an overinflated sense of ego, but, you know, take wins and losses like in the gym as data points for your improvement. I think the same can apply in this situation. So, you know, for an example, like as an example, you know, it's a very silly example, but I raised and show rabbits. I did it when I was a kid in 4-H. It's a big thing for me. But if I lose, and the situation is very genuinely that the loss is because the judge sucked, which is like also a thing. And I'm going to sound arrogant in the world of rabbits, but like I feel like I can say quite confidently, like I wrote the bulk of the current standard that my breed is judged by.
Yeah.
Right. I was president of the national club, like whatever, like nationally competitive. Like I really know that. So like sometimes it's just bad judging. Rather than getting like pissed off at that judge, my question is, what can I do or what can people do or what can the organization do to better equip judges?
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
Right? Like, can I present at a judges conference on the breed I raise? And so it's a little trickier when you're talking about refs and like an organization, but it's kind of similar, right? Like, you know, it can be like less like IBJJF, your refs are shitty, and more like IBJJF, the ref quality is inconsistent. There are these issues. Humans are fallible. We have to just acknowledge that, period. But like, what can we do like as a community to improve this?
Yeah.
And you can only do so much. And you can decide at the end of the day, if they're not responsive to that sort of thing, that you don't compete, right? Under that particular, I'm not picking on IBJJF, although I love to. I'm just using them as an example. You can just say, okay, I'm going to not support them. I'm going to go to these local tournaments. I'm going to go more to ADCC, like whatever, you know, like you can do that, or you can do something about it that's positive, or you can Craig Jones it and create your own tournament with better reffing, you know, what, like whatever. But I think that that's really cheesy saying turn a negative into a positive. But I think taking losses as data points, even when it is not something like, wow, I lost because I am susceptible to outside passing and I'm doing this in this particular position and I'm getting my guard passed. It could be that data point, like I fucked up. That person was just better than me. And that's great. But sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it is that person was just overtly aggressive. You know, they know 2 things in jiu-jitsu and they do those 2 things really well. The ref sucked. They tapped and the ref didn't see it. And then we kept going. Like the ref reset us. You had that happen for 10 minutes in the middle of our match and then didn't reset us back in the right position. So I lost the match. Like those things suck. But I think if you don't take a lesson learned from them, that is on you. Like the injustice isn't on you, but you not being the bigger person and taking something from it and saying, okay, well, how can I ensure to the best of my ability, I may not have complete control, that doesn't happen in the future, I think is the more positive way of framing it. And that's how, you know, I don't compete a ton, but that's what I would say to like anyone who's competing that's part of our team is just try to have that attitude and do something about it.
No, I think you're right.
All right, so let's shift gears to winning, because I think that this can be equally problematic. And, you know, how you act after you win also really matters. So celebrating's great.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
You should be happy.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I think that we shouldn't not allow people their moments of joy. And jiu-jitsu's done at so many different levels. And I don't just mean big tournaments versus small tournaments. I mean hobbyists to professionals who do this full time for a living. And the stakes are different for everyone. The level of, and that's based on their goals, the competition, etc. And like you said, you haven't won an ADCC Worlds. Like we've not been in those shoes to know that overwhelming feeling of this is my literal job to be the best in the world. You know, I am not a, you know, whatever school teacher who does this, you know, on the weekends, which is fine. But like, I can't really imagine that. But we've seen, you know, we see it all the time, like gloating, taunting, the just extreme sort of dramatic celebrations. Yeah. When someone is having a bad moment right next to you.
Yeah, so
having a hard moment.
A disrespect is not okay.
Yeah. So it's hard because it's like, where exactly is that line? Like, how can you be proud and confident without being arrogant? I think that that's a little nuanced and tough. You should be able to celebrate and be excited, but it's not that hard just to be like, hell yeah, and then just like go about, shake the opponent's hand, rather than these kind of like over the top celebrations.
Yeah. I can say from experience, when I lost my Nogi Worlds finals match, I was pretty upset, but the woman that beat me won with grace.
And that helped.
And that did help.
Yeah. And I mean, not that it's centered on you, but I'm sure she wanted to emulate good behavior herself, and also probably not make another person feel bad.
Yeah.
Right. In the moment. There was no reason to add to it. And she gets all the pride after. She doesn't have to do a big celebration, and then she can go back and she can celebrate, go take shots, go wild at the casino. I don't know. I'm just making this up. But like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't have to happen on the mat in that moment in front of the person. You get all of the time in the world after you leave to go celebrate with your team and your family and whatever. In a way that's not harmful or hurtful to that person. So yeah, I'm also not saying, especially to women, that you shouldn't celebrate your wins. But just think about the other human and how they feel and how hard they've worked.
And I mean,
it's emotional.
I agree. And that can be so hard in the moment to just like be able to collect yourself and do that.
I am embarrassed every time I win. Well, so I don't understand this at all. Like I am so uncomfy. And thank God, since basically blue belt, I've lost almost every match. But like
imagine
crazy.
Being Fionn Davies, beating Bia Mesquita by armbar in ADCC, and what do you do? She couldn't even believe it herself.
I understand. I'm just saying, me personally, I feel almost embarrassed when I win. I'm so uncomfortable with attention.
Right.
That I'm just like, ugh, don't look at me. I hate it. I hate it. So, you know, that's also a difference in personality, which is reasonable.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So let's talk about highlight reels. And I think this also goes beyond competing, because one of my things that is a big pet peeve is when people post like highlight reels from training on their social media without consent and necessarily like, you know, they film their roles and then they post their roles on social media without like asking their training partners.
Yeah, that can be pretty not cool.
Especially if you're like the training partner and you're like, I was really like, maybe you just got your ass kicked and you're like, I did just get my ass kicked, but I don't really want everyone to see that. Or you're like, well, I was letting you work. I didn't know you were going to post it.
Or you're working on something leading up to a tournament. You don't need everybody seeing it.
Yeah. I mean, there are lots of like reasons, or just like, that's not how I want to curate my image on social media, like not allowing other people to have that choice for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So like with competitions, where is kind of the nuance there with highlight reels and posting that you won and posting maybe clips of you doing a sweep or getting that submission or whatever? Because I think it could be good, but I also think that there's some real risk for it being bad and coming across as like petty.
Yeah. Yeah. So I am someone who is actually a fan of highlight reels only if when you're maybe making your description or your comment, whatever it is, it's not like bashing the person. So I got highlight reeled, God, years ago at this point, and it went almost viral to the point where there were probably 200 comments on this post.
I got highlight reeled by a model. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
But it got to that point and people started to be mean about me because I had short hair and things like that, essentially calling me a guy.
Oh, I have literally no idea what you're talking about, by the way. We'll have to discuss this after.
Yes, but the woman who beat me was like, no, she was really good. Like, this was a great match. So she like wasn't essentially being like, yeah, she fucking sucked. It was respectful. And
yeah, and I mean, this is where it's nuanced, but it maybe could depend on like what happened specifically. Like, I don't know that like much is like demeaning or inappropriate, but like, I don't know if I broke someone's arm, for example, or I actually broke something, I don't know if I would post that, because that kind of goes beyond like you got a submission into the territory of like someone now has a medical thing going on because of this match. Not that you did anything wrong, but like I don't like those unless the other person's like really okay with it being posted. But obviously if you're competing and you are in a public space, you know that that is a possibility. It's one of the hard things about competing.
Yeah.
Is that you know that people are potentially streaming it. If it's a big tournament, they're watching, and that it's probably, you know, if it's an IBJJF or ADCC, it's going to be on Flow Grappling forever. I mean, that's hard. Like that's hard, but you also do know that ahead of time going into it. But I think, you know, there's a difference between like I got swept or I got armbarred or whatever, and someone posted the highlight reel of that because they're really proud of that accomplishment versus, and again, I don't know how to really articulate it. There could be some things that people would post that are demeaning, you know, post something good, but like if you just post like a 30-second thing of you fucking someone up in every possible way from every possible position, that might come across as just like bullying more than showing off your skill too. So it's like, it's in what you share, but it's also probably in like what you said, the comments too, and like how you frame it and what you say, and if you show respect to your opponent.
Yeah. I also had an opponent who posted pictures from a tournament.
Oh, she blocked your face.
And she blocked my face out. I think because I was making a pretty
I think she was cross-facing you too or something. Like there was something where you looked crazy.
I did not look okay. I looked busted. And she was doing it, I would like to believe, out of respect. It was like a little black heart over my face. So it wasn't like, I think she was really just like
trying to be, I do too. Yeah, I agree. I don't know her, but it seemed, I know someone was like, why would she cover your face? And I'm like, I think she was trying to be nice, because did you see the original photo? She looked fucking nuts and she was getting her ass kicked. You agree? Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's also the match I think you tore your hip labrum in.
Yeah.
Or had torn it before. And not that that matters, but just like, you know, you were not having a good moment is the point.
Yeah.
So another question is like, you know, as jiu-jitsu particularly goes in the direction of no-gi being more prevalent, which of course has adjacent ties to MMA and that culture, we see more like press conference type things, right? Yes. Do trash talking and showboating have a place in jiu-jitsu?
As it becomes more mainstream, it's whether it should or not, it's going to. There are certain dynamics that I am willing to watch more than others. So like, let's say Adele Fornerino versus Jasmine Rocha. Their banter back and forth
fun. They were both
in on it. It was like almost choreographed at that point.
And Jasmine Rocha, to her credit, I don't think she handled the Fionn match very well, where she was like, what are you gonna do, knee cut me? I think if she meant for it to be humorous or she was just trying to kind of be like fun with it, Fionn didn't take it well, and I don't think other people received it well. And I remember I'm like, I don't really like her Like, fuck that girl. I now think she's funny and delightful. So, like, I think there's a real risk there, too, in how people perceive you. But, like, her and Adele, it was so fun. And I'm like, oh, no, she's chill.
Yeah, like the mommy and daddy thing.
Yeah,
I thought that was a marketing genius. It
on
was
both
great.
parts.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, they posted pictures of themselves getting
Afterwards.
dinner. And, like, you know, it was great. And so I really liked that. I thought that was good. Yeah, but you know, just being like, what's she gonna do? Knee cut me? And she's like, I'll pass your guard every way you want me to, bitch. Whatever. Like,
yeah,
you know, it just got like uncomfortable, and we see so much of it. I'll just be honest with men in particular in MMA and in jiu-jitsu where it's just like hostile.
Yeah,
and I just don't understand. I like the Craig Jones approach.
Or it's just funny.
Where it's just like the person is angry and you're just responding with self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're not letting them win it at all. Like, I don't mind that. Like, if someone's really just being an asshole, that's a genius way to handle it, I think. It doesn't mean that you have to just sit there and deal with it. He doesn't just sit there and deal with it. He just hits back in a funny way.
Yes, yeah.
So, you know, that's an option too. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it because I think it has more potential for it to go really, really wrong.
I would agree.
Than for someone to, I mean, it's mostly dudes. I hate to say it, but like, I don't hate to say it. I am saying it with my full chest. It's mostly dudes in jiu-jitsu. Like, I have a couple, I'm like, I just hate them because like,
they're kind of dicks.
okay, I'm never gonna know them. Like, I don't like which one of the Tackets, Andrew. I don't like the Rotolos. I think they're kind of assholes.
Yeah.
Like, they just come across as assholes. And if they're not assholes, they need to work on portraying themselves as assholes. Like, I don't know them. You know what I mean? We don't have friends in common. And they look like dicks. Like, they do. They just, like, I don't know, like, the way they the way they interacted with, like, Levi and, like, talked about him.
Oh, yeah.
Even, like, during the match at CJI, they're, like, making fun of him sitting down. And then, like, okay, you sat down, then you almost got your guard passed, bitch. Like, it was embarrassing. Like, I was embarrassed for them and their behavior because it was, like, they didn't even, like, back it up. Like, talk shit, like, pass the guard at least.
Yeah, yeah.
I like complaining about them. I like how I was going to not complain about them by name, and I'm like, I've already said their name before, so I'm just going to lean into it. But yeah, I don't like that. So, you know, maybe it's not nice that I'm talking about these real people by name too, but also, you know, your behavior's public, so.
I was going to say, once you're in the public eye,
I think there's a lot of opportunity to be misunderstood too, or
yes, absolutely.
that sort of thing. So I'm also self-aware of that. But when you see the behavior so repeatedly and so public and so loud and so unabashed, like they're not ashamed of it, then it's hard to not call it out for what it is. So I don't feel too bad.
Well, it's like a reality TV star portraying themselves as like a dickhead, and then you talk to someone and they're like, oh no, in real life they're really nice, and it's like, well, I don't know that. How am I supposed to know that?
Yeah,
so
yeah, for sure. So that's on them. Yeah, that's on them. So let's talk a little bit about coaches, teammates, gym culture, and how that environment can impact how you behave in terms of winning and losing. And I think it's just that gyms, I think that they have a ethical and like professional responsibility to model good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there are some, even those that sometimes say be a good sport, who kind of like behind the scenes quietly make a lot of excuses.
Yeah.
And sometimes, again, it's in micro ways. It's not like major harm, but it's like every time you lose, there's an excuse. And there's a difference between like an excuse for ego and something factually happened and you're taking it again as a data point. So, you know, I've lost and someone's been like, well, you went up a weight class and you went down in age. And it's like, it's so well-intentioned. Yeah. It comes from a place of kindness. It's like the coach is trying to
make you feel better.
But it is an excuse and it feeds into that kind of bad loser thing.
Yeah.
In a very subtle way. So I think sometimes we think about really bad behavior and we don't think about kind of like the micro harms that we cause by kind of those subtle things. Whereas, you know, there are other things where it's like, because I don't think this is irrelevant, but like, you know, if someone says, you know, that person knows how to do this one takedown to this one choke, they're not as good at you as at jiu-jitsu. What does that benefit you? It might help you feel better, and it might be true. They might factually not be holistically as good at jiu-jitsu, but guess what? They probably were a better competitor than you because of that. Like sometimes people who are not great at jiu-jitsu holistically are actually the better competitors.
Which can actually be a lot of martial arts that can be the case.
Yeah.
Like judo and MMA even.
Yeah. And like, I care way too much. While I have a very specific game, I care way too much about being good at jiu-jitsu. I'm mid, but like that's what I'm striving for. That like I recognized a long time ago. that is not the path for someone who wants to necessarily be a good competitor until you get to like much higher levels and higher belts too, right? Because like, I hope we're not getting to black belt and we can do two things, but like, you get what I'm saying, especially at the lower belt levels. That's very, very common.
Yeah, it is.
And that's not to be demeaning because they have another thing going for them. They have competition down, but that can be an excuse, you know, again, that a coach, I mean, and they can also be dramatic. You see the coaches yelling at the refs, you see them arguing, whatever. So it, you know, it can be like the loud, bad behavior too.
I think it is okay to talk to the refs afterwards. I've done that twice at different tournaments.
Well, to ask in a calm way.
To just discuss so that I have a better understanding of what the rule set is.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that dynamic can be important, but yelling at them isn't going to help anything.
It doesn't help anything at all. And I mean, a lot of times it's shit that you can let go. Like you talked about like tapping or like you didn't tap or whatever. Like that happened to me at a Nashville tournament. It was my first blue belt. I didn't tap. And the ref said I tapped and I was like, cool. There wasn't anything to argue with the ref on because it wasn't like there was a misunderstanding about the rule set. He obviously saw something. Even my opponent was like, I didn't feel her tap. Like we both were like, whatever. But we just also, I'm like, it's fine. You know, like, let's just move on. So I think that's important too in terms of like how you interact with the ref or the other coach. Like, are you just arguing to argue? Because if you're arguing about whether or not someone tapped, especially in a tournament where there's no playback and there's not a way to like check that, or there's not something in the rule set that says that's even allowable, like if it's a very like ref's decision is final sort of thing, what good is that going to do? Whereas if you didn't think that was reaping, you can ask because it helps inform how you train your students going forward, right? And maybe the ref's just wrong, or maybe they'll provide some clarification.
Yes, I also think it's important that you as a competitor are not arguing with the refs at all. If you disagree with something, let your coach do the discussing.
And some people don't have coaches. They travel a lot. So in that case, what would you recommend?
I hate to say it, but
let go of it.
You have to let go.
Could you ask like another ref later?
Yes.
Or like ask the organizers and be like, I am not questioning anything. It's fine. But just so I know in the future.
For clarity.
And that would be more chill probably.
I think that's more appropriate. I do not think a competitor should be arguing with a ref.
I agree.
At all.
I fully agree.
Also, with like modeling accountability and respect, if you are someone who has a leadership role in a gym and you're competing, and at the end you do not show some form of respect to the other coach,
oh yeah,
that is just unacceptable to me. And you are portraying a way for your students to act to another coach that is unacceptable.
I agree.
So even if you don't feel comfortable shaking someone's hand, fist bump them, whatever, do something
you could
else.
just nod and say thanks. Or
it is unacceptable to not show any form of...
IBJJF's hard because you can't physically go over and shake the coach's hand. So you just kind of say thanks to the competitor and walk off.
Yes. Yeah. So in those spaces, but any sort of local tournament, it is very custom, like not custom.
It is a custom. Yeah. It's not a rule, but it's like
it's
a custom.
Very traditional to go thank the other coach for their time and their competitor, essentially.
And I know sometimes people, myself included, are in like a fugue state.
That's not...
After, well, no, it's not an excuse, but also sometimes you just see someone not even look at you with dead eyes, come over and like shake your hand. I don't think anyone's going to think anything of that. Just that you even knew to do that is enough.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So who is an athlete that you think handles winning and losing really well? Do you have any folks to point our listeners to?
I would say probably Fiona Davies.
That was mine.
Usually Adele Fornerino, I would say. When she did lose to Fiona,
I thought she was chill.
She was chill. You could see she was upset. I don't think that it was disrespectful.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we're talking about. You can have human emotions. Like, it's fine. It's fine if you're upset. Yeah.
So I would also say Adele Fornerino then. I actually don't have any men besides Levi Jones-Leary losing at CJI. I think he lost well.
Yeah, I would say Lachlan during his professional career as well, just to go in that vein. Yeah, no, I agree. Fiona is one of my examples. When she lost that particular match, she said, she won. She said, that's not how I want to win. I want to win with like decisive control or submission. Not that she didn't think she deserved to win. But it didn't feel like a good win. And kind of, she was even gracious in that and acknowledging that. I have an example. I won't actually name the person. I don't really care. I won't name the person, but I have an example of the opposite. someone who was really horrible was at an ADCC, so anyone can piece this together. During a takedown, an athlete, their knee got blown out, and it wasn't finals. I don't know if the person went, I don't know if it was semifinals or they went on to semifinals. I get that's a big moment that you get to continue on and potentially, win ADCC like that. I get it. I get the stakes, but, it was just the way the takedown happened and the twisting of the knee. It wasn't good jujitsu. It wasn't a submission. It wasn't skill. It wasn't like anything. And it came on the back of someone having their professional career taken away from them for a period of time. And she is also a horrible loser. Like, we saw that in person at Nogi Worlds.
Yes.
And kind of saw the whole team kind of acting like that. Like these big famous people in jiu-jitsu, you see them in person and you see how they behave in person. It's not just on TV. It's not just on Flow. It's like, there's a culture at some gyms of that. And so there was a immense amount of celebration when someone was, literally on the side screaming in pain.
Yeah.
And that was just really, really gross to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was an over-the-top celebration, even if she had won, let alone how it happened. And it was really early in the match. It wasn't like she had been decisively winning or anything. It wasn't like, it was really gross. So that's an example of kind of the inverse. And it was gross. And then again, we saw her at Nogi Worlds 2 years later. And she threw a tantrum when she lost.
Yeah.
In the finals. So, yeah. And again, there's a difference between being disappointed and just being like overtly disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I don't know. That was not my favorite to see. It's just uncomfy and it didn't even impact me directly. So, we have a couple listener questions. So, one is completely unrelated. Well, actually, both are completely unrelated to today's topic. How do you stay motivated to train when life outside the gym feels overwhelming?
That's a great question because sometimes I can be pretty
sidelined.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm better about that than you. So us being together sometimes helps.
Yeah. I was actually going to say.
Like an accountability buddy. So if you don't have a spouse, maybe having an accountability buddy.
Yeah, I think so. Watching professional events also helps me feel motivated and stay motivated. But
yeah, I mean, like, we had your surgery. I started a new job. I've been incredibly busy. We have a 1-year-old. We have a puppy because we're idiots. Like, we have a lot going on. I launched a literary magazine because I'm an idiot. I was maybe manic. Don't regret it. It's fun. It's just like we're very busy. And then like it's easy for those things to happen. I think it's just like focusing on your goal, right?
Yeah.
And that is a thing you love. And if you don't really love it, you're not going to have that self-motivation. But there are moments,
yeah, I agree,
that are hard. So I think what you said, like watching jujitsu or something else, like filling the time in a productive way. Like maybe you can't get into the gym, but you're like, I can't get into the gym. I'm going to spend like 10 minutes looking up this technique.
Yeah.
Like something to keep routine.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, someone once said there are seasons for everything and jujitsu is always there. So if you don't want to do those things, that's also fine.
Yeah.
Just if you love it, come back to it.
It'll be there.
If you love it and you set it free, what's that saying? And it comes back to you, it was meant to be. Okay.
And if it doesn't, it was never yours. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway.
People said it.
So this is from our friend Brandon. What are you most excited about with teaching and coaching at GrewFit?
I'm pretty excited to be, I don't know if I can say like leading the competition team or the competitive side.
Yeah, we didn't say that earlier. You're the competition coach.
So the competitive side of this program.
And you've wanted to do that.
I've always
asked to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're able to.
I am. I got this opportunity and I'm very excited for it.
I think what I'm most excited about is that it's very community oriented and that there are opportunities for people. It's the gym is owned by a Muay Thai person, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of trust that's going into the jiu-jitsu program. And I'm not leading it. You're not leading it. John's the head coach. But he very much is like, we are leading it.
Yes, yeah. Like and it's a group effort.
I'm very like, no, it is yours. Sort of like I'm pushing back on that sometimes just like because I want to be very respectful and deferential. But I think that's really exciting that I love teaching women's class. But I think for me, it's being not relegated to a women's class and mm-hmm. being allowed to teach co-ed. Yeah. And not just teach co-ed, but like the 2 co-ed classes I'm teaching are advanced. So I'm teaching the only advanced gi class.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching one of the very few advanced no gi classes. Mm-hmm. And I will have black belts in my class on a regular basis.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's very, very scary, but it's going to be fine. I can do it.
Yeah, you can.
It's going to be great. And so just having that opportunity and that trust means a lot. And then I'm really excited about a women's program, but like I really want to continue in that vein of like giving people opportunities. So if someone wants to teach, you know, like kids class, they can teach kids class, but they're not just like relegated to kids class. Like I would love to have someone take over the women's class one day. I want to build like a bench, and John wants to build a bench, and Jamie, that gym owner, wants to build a bench. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And also getting paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that sounds like really silly to say, but you know, you should at least get a membership waiver.
Yeah.
If not paid per class when you're teaching, you are working. And that should be a thing. And I've been afraid to say that in the past, but I think that needs to be said.
I think it's important.
And that's not like a dig at anyone.
No,
It really isn't. It's just,
I think it's very actually old school traditional that like you don't get paid to do those things.
I think it also comes from like growing up, like when I was in college, like every internship was unpaid. And I was a journalism minor for like a little bit, and if you did an internship, they actually had a requirement that it had to be paid because they considered that like abusive.
Okay.
Unpaid labor, like they considered that abusive, and I actually really like do agree with it, and I have not always walked the walk with that. And to be very clear, that was a personal choice. It's on me if I didn't ever broach that subject in the past, 100%. So I'm not putting that on anyone else other than myself. But I think that that's really important, that it is a gym that, you know, you're even, you know, and that comes up like, okay, this person can't afford their membership. Do we have any room for them to teach a kids class?
Yep.
You know, like, yeah, we'll make them work, but it's a community. It really isn't just like a business owner's business. It is a true community. And it comes through that like mutual respect, mutual hard work, and mutual stakes. I think that a lot of gyms don't afford you the opportunity to have a true stake in the gym. It is their gym, and it's hard for it to ever be a real community when it is just a top-down business.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know some people are going to hear this. I'm just going to address this really directly. Some people are going to hear this and think it's a dig at them. If you take something from it and you internalize it and think it's about you, then it is, whether or not I intended it. And it's not intended.
I was going to say this was literally not about
anyone personally.
Anyone.
Yeah, it's not. I've been wanting to say this for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that really directly. You know, if you think something's about you, you probably are seeing something in it that relates to you.
Yeah.
And is hitting you. So that's not meant to be mean. It's just something to think about.
Also, a cool thing about the Crew Fit Jiu-Jitsu coaching staff is that we're all part of the queer community.
Yes.
So that was something cool.
Well, yeah, it's a queer lesbian owned gym, period. And we didn't realize that, and that wasn't intentional, but it is all, we're all queer. Every single jiu-jitsu coach. I mean, even Petra, who's coming in as our kids coach. And yeah, so
that's pretty cool.
Every single person, that's really, really, really cool. That's just absolutely amazing. So very, very excited about that. Even when I think about like the people I would love to groom into coaching roles, all queer.
Yeah.
Just by circumstance. Lots of straight people at that gym, but you know, there are so many opportunities for people who otherwise might not be accepted at their gym. It's such a great place.
Yep.
All right, questions for each other. My question is, have you, Andrea Shenegi, had a bad loser moment?
Absolutely. I would say not that I can remember in front of like right after losing, like, you know, hand raising kind of thing, not in that situation, but afterwards I definitely threw a bit of a tantrum. Again, not in front of people. I excused myself.
I think you cried more than you threw a tantrum.
Okay. I excused myself.
You had a lot of emotion. You had big feelings.
Yeah, I excused myself from the situation, went outside and was just upset. But it was not in front of like my opponent's coach. I just needed to get away for a little bit. It's not something I'm proud of. I didn't need to do that. But yeah, I did. So what about you?
I had one where I feel like, I mean, I kind of stand by being mad, but I don't think I was good about it in the moment, where my only thing, I don't care how mean you are, is I don't like a submission being ripped without an opportunity to tap before harm is caused. And I feel like that happened at a major tournament. I don't care that I lost. I don't care how I lost. I don't think that is like very ethical to do to someone, especially in like a Master 2, we all have to go to work the next day sort of tournament. I don't care that it was a big one. And some people may disagree or agree. I know there's some people who are just like, fuck it, break it. Like, I don't agree with that. Personally, that is my moral compass. And I was pissed about it. Like, I did not give two shits that I lost or that I lost quickly, but like that still is really hard for me. I still kind of stand by that was a thing to be upset about. It wasn't cool. And yeah, but like, I didn't say shit to her, but I wasn't friendly when we walked off the mat. Like, I think I hugged, shook hands, and I probably stormed off. And I came right up to you and I was like, fuck her. Like, I didn't say it to her though.
No.
And then when we went over for podium, I was very nice to her. We talked and it was good. Like, I calmed down. And I think kind of like yours, it's interesting that you can be publicly fine.
Yeah.
Like, I was not impolite to her at any point, but I still had a reaction that even if it was only you and I seeing it, I still don't feel good about.
Yeah.
That it let me get to that point. So that's mine.
So my question for you is, have you seen a high-class competitor that you didn't expect to lose and then lose with grace, or was there an outburst involved?
Maybe Hibero.
Okay.
Like recently when he lost to Kit Dale, I thought he was pretty chill about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, and then I thought Kit Dale, interestingly enough, when he lost to Wagner Hosha, was also pretty chill about it.
Yeah.
So both a good winner and a good loser, and two different good losers. I don't know that I've seen someone have an outburst where I'm like, that's out of character at all. I'm like, yeah, you kind of seem like the type, or that's what I've seen of you.
I'm trying to think, and I literally can't think of anybody.
I can think of someone. I don't know if I want to name that person by name, but who I think a lot of people thought was super nice, but I think we now kind of see isn't always.
I'm going to ask you who it is after. I don't think you should say the name, but I'm curious.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
That people are like, he's not actually that nice, but I'm like, I think he kind of throws tantrums sometimes.
Okay. All right.
Not about like losing, but just kind of like grouchy. You don't know who I'm talking about?
No, I'll ask you after.
Okay. Sounds good. Did you have one?
I was actually going to say the Kit Dale winning and losing. I thought
he handled both well. Yeah.
I didn't even thinking about like Hibero, and because he lost with grace.
I wouldn't expect anything else. Yeah, from him.
Yeah.
Very classy. Very classy. And I just want to say also, like, to his credit, I don't know him. I've never trained with him, but I know a black belt of his, Wasim. Mm-hmm. And Wasim is always the most respectful. He shakes everyone's hands, says hi to them before class, before we train, which Adele Fornerino did too at our seminar, by the way. Went around and shook everyone's hands, said thanks for coming, before it even started. Like, I think that you don't have to be overly formal in jiu-jitsu, but you can tell when someone comes from that sort of tradition of respect, where there's a little bit more of a traditional martial arts sort of
background.
Yeah. Versus just like,
okay, yeah,
rolling around no-gi and like a sweaty whatever, like I don't know. So I see it in his students too, and his leaders is what I wanted to say. So
I think that's a great point, and I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. So like a man I've never met and probably will never meet, but I think highly of because of my friend. Yeah. My friend, and like how respectful he is, and I can see where it comes from.
All right. Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
All right. So what things do we have coming up?
All right. So coming up, we have ADCC Louisville, and that's September 13th. And I'm planning on being there with some competitors of mine. So
yeah, that'll be your first team that you're taking.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yes. So I'm very excited about that. IBJJF Nashville, and it's October 18th through the 19th.
I think that one's a maybe.
Maybe. Also, No-Gi Pans it's not on
You're
my list.
You're freestyling it?
I am freestyling, but it's October 5th or 6th, like that week.
I would rather do that than Nashville.
I know. So
I want to go see Wise.
We'll discuss.
Okay.
And we'll see. No-Gi Worlds, and that's December 11th through the 13th in Las Vegas, we will be there.
We will, and we have team members who have their flights already.
Yes.
It is happening.
We are taking a team out there, and I'm very excited for it.
Sucker Free is going to show out. Weiss is not going to know what happened.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And then Lesrel Queer Grappling Camp, April 17th through the 19th. We have our dates, and that's in Fishers, Indiana at our home gym, CrewFit. And yeah.
All right, where can people find us?
People can find the podcast at lesrelradio.com and at Lesrel Radio on TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Instagram. You can also get our Discord information link in the bio. You can find me on all those platforms at Shenegi A, and you can find my wife Kelly at Kelly Shenegi on all those platforms as well.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Talk to you later.